Hello, my beautiful little muglets. Today we have some more developer notes to go over. Some pretty exciting things in here. I already read through it because when Az sent it over, it was already pretty late and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read through them, but then I'll do the video tomorrow. Anyway, we start off here with this paragraph. It's basically just a summary of the dev note, future plans, and what they're trying to achieve with Epic 7. First, MolaGora improvements. This is really exciting. So they've already done this a couple times in the past. They're going to be reducing the MolaGora requirements again by another 12 to 18%. This is the third time they've done this. And the most exciting thing about this, of course, is that we will be getting refunded 12 to 18% of the MolaGoras we've spent. So awesome. Looking forward to getting some of those back and getting some skills up. And also in the future, skills will be easier to raise. This is, and probably always will be, the one big bottleneck to maxing out a hero. You know, runes, you can farm them pretty much as you want to as long as the day is correct or the weekend or whatever. EXP, catalyst, all this stuff is farmable, but MolaGoras are not. There's definitely a pretty hard limit to how many you can get per week, per month, whatever. So I think with more and more new heroes coming along, the late to end game players that have just a bunch of 6 stars lying around with like hardly any skills raised because there is this huge MolaGora lack, I think that's probably a problem. And of course, I think a lot of players, myself included, use a lot of units much less because they have, you know, not 40 MolaGoras invested in them or whatever. Because of course, a DPS with all their skills maxed is going to be way stronger than a DPS with no skills maxed, or maybe just like their ultimate with their cooldown reduction, you know? Yeah, they like the cooldown reduction is the most important, but they're still missing out like a lot of percentage of damage. That should be happening in the July update, so sometime next month. They also say we will be getting more MolaGoras on the regular, which is great. Adventure's Path, I guess, had some. I wasn't paying too much attention. Starting on July 4th, this 100 floor tower will be here, and you can also get MolaGoras. They say they are not considering a skill recall function, which is understandable because when they do nerf a character, you usually have the option to recall the entire character, MolaGoras included, which I think is brilliant, and I'm really glad they have that in place, because then it's like, yeah, it kind of sucks that I spent like Skystone summoning this character that you just nerfed, but at least I can get all my resources in them back if they really nerf them hard, you know? At least as far as non-free units are concerned. They never nerfed them that hard. Some of the 3 stars like Elsin and Tyria, or whatever she's called, they also hint at a world boss, but yeah, that is already super hype. We also got balance changes, of course. They also note a connection that I actually hadn't made myself, but they say here, Moonlight heroes have been designed particularly for PvP content, which yeah, of course, when I think about it, most of those Moonlight heroes and their skill sets do definitely revolve around PvP. It's just one of those things that I hadn't really thought about until I read it like just right there. They say they don't offer any PvE in-game content that allows players to compete with each other, which to be honest, I'm a little bit happy about, but you know, more content's always cool regardless. They plan to introduce more challenging PvE content such as World Boss, so that even the units outside of PvE specialized content can still be valuable and it's not just only focused on PvP heroes. In this sentence, they basically say they're going to be buffing heroes that don't get used a lot and maybe nerfing ones that are overused. They actually don't say much about nerfing here. It's more about buffing the older ones so that the new ones don't get all the spotlight all the time. So these balance changes will happen on June 27th. And they're gonna go into more detail in a separate notice. Of course, the new hero, Lilibet. I heard it was Lilibeth, and but no, it's Lilibet. All right. She'll have a new ability called Extinction, and the enemy she uses that skill on cannot be revived. That's the gist of it, which of course can definitely be powerful, especially with some of the big revivers we have in the meta. And then of course, ML Vildred, he kind of focuses around revive, so it's kind of funny they would have that right below Lilibet. But he got a massive buff. After Az sent me the patch note link, he actually sent a screenshot of his Moonlight Vildred, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be up. To be fair, he does have a pretty amazing Vildred, so yeah, have fun with that, Az, quite lucky. So the biggest change in my opinion is his passive skill. So once he dies and is revived, his combat readiness goes to 100%, and he gets an attack buff for 2 turns. That just seems pretty crazy to me, because usually, like if a unit dies and you revive them, they're kind of still vulnerable for a while. But in this case, he gets revived and 100% combat readiness. It's his turn. with an attack buff, and his damage dealing skills Sweep and Dark Blade no longer depend on his health loss they used to before, and it'll just be getting a flat, constant 30% damage dealt bonus, which means more consistency. You don't have to kind of wait until he has low health to do anything. It's just, yeah. Also on Dark Blade, the decrease hit chance is going to 100 instead of the previous 70. So massive, massive buffs there for Vildred. I have heard people say that Vildred is like the weakest 5-star Moonlight, so that might be why he's getting bumped up. Az has been using him though, regardless of what people say, and he's been having success with him, but I guess even more now, so grats to him. I wish I would have a 5-star Moonlight, one of them. And then they explained the more intricate details about his change. You can read them if you want, but I think I kind of went over most of it. Also getting some Ravi buffs. This is actually quite exciting for me because I have Ravi, she's raised, she even has gear, and I actually use her in like a labyrinth sometimes. Main buff here is that she's getting 30 fighting spirit instead of 10 when she uses her basic attack. But also, this buff isn't insignificant either. So before, her damage dealt increases proportional to the fighting spirit, which means if you use Devil Drive, which uses all of her fighting spirit, then you're kind of stuck with like lower damage for a while until you get the fighting spirit back up. So you kind of always had to decide, well, do I do Devil Drive, try and stun some little enemies there, maybe do a bit of good AoE damage, or do I keep it so Slaughter is still good damage? But now you don't have to, because that's being changed to a more linear attacks and damage taken, which stacks. Hopefully like all the way through Labyrinth, like it kind of does with Luluka's third skill stacks. That would be nice. No idea though. Don't have all the information here, I believe. But I mean, her getting 30 fighting spirit per Slaughter basically means Devil Drive has like a 3-turn cooldown now. I think she'll still get fighting spirit when she is attacked, hopefully. Otherwise it will be, I guess, a 4-turn cooldown. It's 100 fighting spirit, right? We also have Cigarette here. I know pretty much nothing about her, but the changes do seem pretty straightforward. It does say full specs will be listed in detail later on, and the table below is a tentative version of her changes, which means there's still the possibility that it'll be changed before its final release. But basically, higher chance to bleed on basic, higher chance to bleed on second skill, and penetrates defense by 30% on guillotine. So a pretty big DPS buff there in my opinion, but again, could change. They also say they are considering balance changes to the following heroes: Judge Kisa, Maid Chloe, Violet, Bloodblade Karen, Assassin Coley, Corvus, Cart Purgus, and Lots. Tell me in the comments below which one's getting buffed, which one's getting nerfed. I'll wait. They're probably all getting buffed actually. None of them, except maybe Maid Chloe. She is kinda op. I mean, Judge Kisa too, but I don't see her as often as some of the other Moonlights. They say they're gonna be trying to do balance updates every 6 to 8 weeks to encourage unique metas with players using a wider variety of heroes. This is also quite exciting. Moonlight summon improvements. They're kinda sympathizing here with Moonlight summons. It's, yes, please do sympathize, because it does kinda suck to never get a 5-star Moonlight hero, to only get a bunch of Gunthers and Wandas. It's not really that cool. But the key words here are implement certain safety measures. I mean, they've only been discussing it, of course, so it could be, could not be, could take a long time still. There's no real plans for that yet, but maybe on the horizon, that would be cool. And here are some quality of life improvements we're gonna try and go over really quick. A 10x summon, yes, please, that would be nice, sort of. So for me, it would absolutely be nice, because having to edit in between every single pull when I'm doing a summoning video is kinda annoying. So for me, it would be really convenient. And I think for the general player base as well, that don't really care about seeing each individual hero, and they maybe just don't even feel like, you know, tapping 120 times during a guaranteed raid up or whatever. They say they're thinking about improving the current one-tap summon system first though. So adding the option to skip certain steps when summoning, like maybe the whole animation process or whatever. That would be cool as well. You know, if we can go from one hero to the next, like within like, you know, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, that would be cool as well. Maybe wouldn't even need 10x summons then. This is also pretty exciting as well. Repeat battle and auto open treasure chests. Pet system. They're very vague about what this pet could actually be. It just says it's kind of like a helper. It won't serve only one function. You can nurture and strengthen it, but yeah, they don't give any specifics, and that it's getting delayed because they're trying to make it a big thing and not just a little thing. Third quarter at the earliest, or sometime this year at the latest. Auto promote, also very, very cool quality of life sounding thing. They say they're thinking about doing it at least for Phantasmas, maybe for others as well, but it is what it sounds like. Auto promote, they kind of list all the steps that you actually need to promote a hero, and that once you're doing like hundreds of Phantasmas or 2-star heroes or monsters or whatever to get fodder, then it can be boring and time consuming and take a lot of time eventually. So I'm on the side of yes for this. And then we got inventory expansion. Again, it sounds like what it is. I honestly don't see what's so hard about them adding more slots to the inventory. They don't have to do anything innovative with it, in my opinion. I would probably buy up to 1,000 of each, to be honest, because there have been several times already where I'm short on time. I just want to go farm this one stage like, you know, 10 times to get some experience or whatever, and then I get hit with that freaking, oh, your equipment inventory is full, and then I go spend 5 minutes just trying to find something I can raise, like in my gear, or sell some 3-star artifacts or whatever, just so I can have some space. And then I do like 2 runs, and then boom, your hero inventory is full. And then I have to go raise some Phantasma and whatever. And that can get pretty annoying pretty quick, because, you know, once you've been playing for a while and you have a lot of like 4 stars you're saving up, you have, you know, several 6 stars, some 5 stars for different content or whatever, then your actual usable space is always going to be kind of low. They did add the storage feature, but that doesn't really help at all, to be honest. I'm sorry, but that's almost useless, because it only works with summoning, so you don't get like cock blocked when you're doing summons, and that's cool and everything, but once you take them out of storage, you can't put them back in. You know, it's basically like you don't have them when they're in storage, so it's not a real storage there. But yeah, I guess it does help, so you can have like one solid summoning session and then, you know, manage your stuff. You know, that's cool and everything, but it doesn't really help the actual inventory issue, in my opinion. And then I guess charms, besides equipment charms, will be sent to another inventory to free up more space. And that will actually help, I guess, a little bit. I don't really know what they mean by equipment charms, though. Like the wild card charms, the ones you can use for any equipment besides accessories, whatever. I don't really know, but maybe it will help. And that's pretty much it for the dev note. Regardless, there are a lot of exciting things going on with it. And I actually think that, there has been nothing new since then. It was only posted less than 24 hours ago anyway, so what should there be new already? Make sure to tell me what you think about the upcoming changes in the comments down below. Leaving a like if you happen to enjoy is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.